So a very good evening to one and all present here. On behalf of Dr. Suresh Kumar Murugesan, the team lead of this webinar series, and the organizer, the Department of Psychology, the American College Madurai, and the associating partners, Madras School of Social Work, Chennai, Red Pond Educational and Psychological Research Center, Madurai, Yellow Pond Counseling Center, Madurai, and Psycho-Oncological Association, Turkey, along with our core team. I welcome you all to today's session 409. And today I welcome all the participants along with the resource person. And today we have Pongal Punitha madam with us, and she's a very experienced motivational speaker. Currently, she's working as a senior principal at Primpat's Garden School at Chennai, and she's going to talk about art of parenting to us today. Ma'am, thank you so much for accepting our request and being present here this evening, and we are very much looking forward to listen to you. And now I request Deepan, one of our core team members, to give a few words about the speaker today to the group. Thank you. Over to you, Deepan.
Thank you, Chandra ma'am. So, welcome to everyone, and welcome Pongal Punitha ma'am. A few words about Pongal Punitha ma'am. Pongal Punitha ma'am is the founder and director of Infinity Leaders Academy. She's been in the education industry for 2.5 decades, and she has her expertise in new age parenting, student-teacher relationships, parents-institution relationships, and leadership training. Uh, she's a qualified teacher with a master's degree in English and public administration. She has completed her MPhil in English and also has a bachelor degree in education. So she has done a lot of certificate courses in English language and speaking skills. And as Chandra ma'am has rightly said, she is an international motivational speaker and a life coach. Ms. Pongal Punitha madam has been working previously. She has had a very vast, what you call, very she has worked a lot. She has a lot of experience as a school principal in Rosalie Pacific Higher Secondary School, AKG Public School, Belamal schools, as you all know, and Chinmaya Vidyalaya. So we are basically in the presence of someone who is one of the we can say top persons, or maybe very experienced persons in the field of education. So with that, we welcome Madam, who's here today to speak in her core topic of parenting. So over to you, Pongal Punitha ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, Chandra, I'm new to this platform. Is it that I won't be able to see anyone? Or is it that no one is on camera? How is it actually?
Ma'am, actually, the participants are trying to manage their data like this, ma'am. So if we are on videos, mostly it happened to have disruptions in the audio that we hear. So it decided like, but we can still request, ma'am. So Pongal Punitha ma'am wants to see all our faces there. So whoever it's possible, just kindly do it. And thank you for that.
Yeah. It will be great to see some faces and talk rather than just talking to the, already we are in a virtual platform, and here we can have some faces on the screen. It will be better. It's my privilege to be here. Invited. It was Dr. Suresh who invited me here, and Dr. Chandra again has been introduced to us through Dr. Suresh. So kind of a connection here. So proud to be here as part of this team, which has been doing webinars continuously for the past 409 days. So entire lockdown, it has been happening, and it has been really great. So it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for the invitation, and thank you for this opportunity. As parents, I think we have a lot of parents here. I see quite some of my invitees here. So, as parents, what is Chandra, like the time limit for me will be 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour? Chandra, are you there? I'm sorry.
Ma'am, the time limit would be, let's say maybe 1 hour, ma'am. And the last half an hour we can have it for discussion, ma'am.
Okay.
So
So so 1 hour
let us
of,
have it for maybe 45 minutes, ma'am, if that is okay with you.
okay, yeah, 45 minutes, and then we move on to the questions. Yes. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
sure.
great. Okay. So, parents, when we call ourselves as parents, what is it that we looking for? Are we expecting something? Does it happen with an expectation when you become a parent? Are you looking in for something in return for what all you're doing? How are you looking at it when you call parenting? When you think about parenting a child or a few children, whatever, expectation becomes the crux. Am I right? Most of the time, we expect our children to give back something. Probably not money, but in some name or form, in some way or the other, we expect our children to give us back something. So, if that expectation can be changed a little, tweaked a little, we expect gratitude, isn't it? We expect gratitude. Instead of expecting gratitude, can we expect ingratitude? Can we think on those lines? What happens when you expect ingratitude? When you say ingratitude, how can you expect ingratitude? Is it right to say that you can expect ingratitude from your own children? What I mean to say here is, first of all, let us just erase off those expectations. It's only because you expect something from your children. You want them to be listening to you. You want them to be fulfilling your dreams about them. You want them to be doing something for you in some name, form, in some way or the other. If those expectations can be written off, it's not that easy because we come from a culture where we really look into our children as people. We don't think if I call it a business, a commercial, you might even get offended. But aren't we doing it? It's kind of a barter system. Probably we're not exchanging money, but we're exchanging something, right? We're asking for exchange of something. So if we can look into that with a deeper sense of thought, deeper sense of introspection, you will understand that our trauma starts with our expectation in return, our expectation in return from our children. So can we do away with that? Is there a possibility? Do you think there is a possibility? I think there is a possibility because when just do it, like, believe it's your duty. Khalil Gibran says your children came through you, not for you. So they came through you, not for you. Remember that. If you can reinforce those words of Khalil Gibran, then you will not get into those thought of they came for me. I remember when I was a principal in Chinmaya Vidyalaya Tirunelveli, I'm a single parent. So I had both my children, my girls, to take care. I was really feeling it difficult and it was challenging. So I wanted a secure place where I can be there and take care of my children. I was Swami Tejomananda, the then head of Chinmaya Mission, had come down to Tirunelveli. So when I was in a chat with him, I just asked him, Swamiji, can you do me a favor? You have got so many schools. I can come in there. I will do every work for the school. The only thing that I want in return is I want a place to stay, food for all the three of us, and good education for both my children. Swamiji said, Amma, I'm so happy that you want to come with us. I know what quantum of work Pongalamma can do, but just think the children did not want or sit and pray to become your children. Your whims and fancies, they were born of you. And now they had an irresponsible father. Are you going to be an irresponsible mother? I asked Swamiji, Swamiji, how do I become an irresponsible mother? because I want to give them the best, because I know when I come there, the education, I can give them the education, and then the rest they can decide. Swamiji said, you can decide on the style of life that you want, Amma. An ashram life for you, you decide. But who are you to thrust it upon your children? What are we doing? Aren't we thrusting things upon our children? It made me think a lot. He told me, get your second daughter married. Get be packed up, be ready. The day she leaves for her husband's place, you pack up and come to Coimbatore. I told Swamiji, next they will say the first Deepavali, first Pongal, then first delivery. And he said, Amma, those things we can take care of it in the ashram. Believe me, my dear friends, if we can take us out of that expectations. I get overwhelmed now when my daughters tell me that they would like to do this for me, because I have literally, frankly speaking, it's not boasting. I have no expectations from my daughters. I go to the extent possible to give them the best. But definitely, I would like to, I prefer and I believe that I will be on my own in every aspect till my last breath. So, what are we having in our mind? What I'm just telling you, sharing my story instead of giving you some other lessons from some theories from here and there. I'm just sharing my thoughts. What are we having in our children, about our children? First, let us have clarity in this, in our expectations from our children. And then let's move on to how do we make them get groomed as better children. I remember I wrote a letter to one of my professors when I had my first daughter. I remember writing a letter to my professor, Miss Adeline George, asking her, Ma'am, how do I groom my daughter into the best child? She said, prayerfully surrender her to God. She will naturally grow into a very good daughter, Pongal. That is what she said. And yes, I surrendered, I prayed, left it out, and I'm sure that she's a good daughter today. My dear friends, so how did you get into all those modes? How do you bring those in your children very naturally? The first thing I reinforce is exorbitant praising. When you praise them, their self esteem goes high. That's very, very important. Self esteem. I remember a parent admitting his child in our school. The girl was in another school. The girl was just in first standard, and he was moving her from another school to our school. Do you know what the reason he told me? He told me that, ma'am, excuse me, I'm just bringing her here because I have a car, I have a bike, we are well settled, ma'am. He was a professor. But I had been to that college to pick my daughter on my bike. Usually she comes on the school transportation. But today, since I had come a little earlier, I went to pick her. I thought, okay, let me bring my daughter, and I went to pick her. And she said, uh, Appa, henceforth, if you're coming to pick me, come in a car. Don't let me down or put me into shame in front of my friends by coming on a bike to pick me up. He told me, Ma'am, I don't want this. I don't want this attitude in children. Self esteem. They want every other people to think high of themselves. What are we doing? Are we damaging their self esteem? So, how do we grow their self esteem up? Praise. Find reasons to praise them exorbitantly, exuberantly. You have to see this praise. I'm just starting with praise because this leads into quite a lot of changes in the children. The first thing, how do you praise them? It's just good, good. Not like that. When you say, there should be so much of enthusiasm. So wonderful. It's not wonderful. Ah, okay, good, good. No, that energy that you are praising them. Wow, what a lovely thing to do. Enthusiasm, that energy, that emotion, that body language, that tone, everything has to be in sync with the praise. Again, how do you praise? Do you say that, oh, I know you are a good girl, you are a good girl? Not like that. Praise that instance. When I said praise exorbitantly, exuberantly, it didn't mean or it doesn't mean that you have to praise them for every other thing, even when they do a mistake, hide it and praise it. No. Pick that one little right thing that they do and praise it. Be specific. Wow, your table looks so neat. Very good. You have done beyond my expectations. So, when you are specific, don't say that you always do it. No, that day the child has done it. Be specific about that expression, that praise. And the next thing, the third thing is a body, a non-verbal cue. Touch them. The emotions are transformed. Transferred. The emotions, your love, your, you are really happy about it, is getting transferred to the child. So praise really with, like, just have words, like find out all words and praise them as much as possible, and praise them when it is done. Not that after a week, after a month, that day you did something, move 3 months back you did something. No, 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 no. Then that moment, probably if you're not present that moment, that day when you meet the child for after that event, praise them with that. But there are few precautions. So what are those precautions? Use it effectively. As I told you, when you praise them, when you say wonderful, when you say wow, your tone, your body language has to be in line, in sync with the emotions. Do not make it ineffective. Just say, okay, good. No. So that shouldn't become ineffective. And don't say, you're always a good girl. You're always a good child. You're always this. Don't, you always do it so beautifully. No. Be specific. Don't praise a person. Praise that instance. Praise that, job that was well done. And do not include affection to it. Don't say to the child that I love you because you did this. Whether you did it or not, I love you. That's irrespective of however you. My love is unconditional. That has to be expressed. Don't connect the praise with your emotions, and don't add on a few things after praising. Wow, you did this so well. Like, you have done, you cleared your table, you arranged your table so neatly, and the next adding on a but to it. But if you can be like this always, but if you can do it, if this becomes your habit, but if you can do a little bit better than your sister, adding on a little, don't do that also. Don't, why can't you be like this every day? Like, after a praise, let that praise end there. Do not add on those few lines with ifs and buts, which spoils the entire story, the earlier story. So, praise really well, but be doing it cautiously. Again, you might ask me, excuse me, do I have to praise my child for everything, to get everything done? No, not always. You don't have to be. See, when you see that really good, do it. But then don't make that like a cue to make the child do it every time. You want her to make do something for to clear the table, then don't tell her like, ah, today something, don't pick on something and bring her here. You don't have to do it. And do I have to praise? Like, see, I have a child, I have two children. One child does it even without me doing any praise. The child is doing it so well. Then why are you asking me to praise a child to make it happen again? What you can do is you have to remember that all children, all the five fingers are not the same. They are different. Similarly, no two children are same. So just accept the child as it is. Now, you want to encourage a behavior, a kind of a behavior in a child. You want to develop that kind of a behavior in a child, or you want a child to get rid of a behavior. What do we do? Just going to talk about, there are three ways in which you can do. One is again telling them to do it verbally. You tell them that, can you please do this? Not for me. Not for me. Again, never say that, why don't you do this for me? No. Can you please do this for me? No. Ask them to do it for themselves. Will you please put your things in order? Will you please put your room uh, in a clean up your room, clean the mess that is in your room? So it just put it verbally. And then second thing is, you can do it for them, like physically take them there, show what is to be done, and then make it happen. That way also, small things. If you want them to arrange the table, see, this pen is supposed to be here, can you put it, see, I think it will be better if it can be here, and this, so where should all this happen, can you please get it done? So physically you take them there, and you do a visual modeling. They see you doing it, and you get it done for them. And next thing is like, how do you make them, how do you lead them to it? Again, the non-verbal cues matter a lot. Whether it gives you a negative setting or a positive setting, it depends mainly on your non-verbal cues. Your tonality. Are you really harsh or are you really soft? Are you putting it so bluntly that it looks arrogant, or are you putting it subtly that it is? So instead of asking a child, look, your room is so messy, you can't even have, instead of that, I think your room will look better if things can be put in order. Can you, shall we do it together? Can I help you out? Start and lead them to it. We need a little patience when you have to develop a habit in a child. So if we can do that, lead them to it instead of shouting at them, instead of like, you are always like this, you never do anything properly, branding them, all these creates a negative setting. So what do you want? Do you want the child to behave in a way that you want, or do you want the child to behave against what you want? It is in your hands only. Your tone matters. How you say, what you say matters more than what you say. So, how you say what you say matters the most than what you say. Please take charge of how you say. And so, your tone, your body language, your energy, your in your language, you are showing the trust in your child. You're just showing the trust in your child that you believe that your child will do it. So very clear and specific prompts. Like you're not giving it like in a very generic way, or like where the child cannot understand. When you say, "Can you put everything in order?" the child will not know. Or when you say, "Can you write neatly?" or "Can you keep your school books neatly?" Instead of that, if you can show how it can happen by a small model from what you have, that will look better. That will help the child do better, and reinforcing your tonality, because we, the South Indians, like, especially, like, this, I mean, Tamils, I know the voice that we have, that tone that we have. I remember, like, when I used to be firm, people used to feel that I'm arrogant. So how did, like, you learn it with experience. So practice it, practice it, practice it. And also, when you want children to do something, please ensure that you give them some choices. When you want them to do something, see, even if you want to do them some homework or sit to that, like, give them a choice. Like, what shall we do now? Are we going to finish here all these work and go to the next thing, or what do we do now? So it is not playing and doing, it is not a different item, the same thing. Work, like, if you want your child to fix it up, completing your homework, so the choice, so you're leading to the choice, you're not giving them a complete choice, but then you're narrowed down already, and you're leading them to a choice, telling, shall we take math or English? So I remember going to a house, and when that grandma used to ask, like, milk, coffee, tea. When we say no, I don't want, she said that was not in the choices at all. So similarly, when your child says no, we'll watch the TV or play, so you can say that that was not in the choice list at all. The choice list. Give the choice list. Instead of saying, now let us start with max and then go in. So it is like you're thrusting it on them. Now, you give them a choice. When you want them to wear a dress, like, have a few and tell them, like, which one of this. It is not that, again, you're not tossing just one. So a little here and there. See, slowly you're narrowing them to do the way you want. It's only in their interest, which initially they will not understand. And the next thing is using the word please. Please, sorry, thank you. We've been telling this repeatedly. We teach when the kids are very young, we say these are the golden words. But how many of us are using it? As we grow, we take people for granted, especially our own children, our own family. Do we say thank you to them? No. I'm sorry. I had a sumptuous lunch. So it's right. Today was Sunday. So it was, do we thank them when somebody makes good food? Do we thank them? We take them for granted. Yeah, she's the female of the house, so she has to do it, and it is her duty, isn't it? But then, don't you think that it is our duty to say thank you? Similarly, even to your children, instead of putting it, I used to tell teachers, like, see, my sentence, my statements might come with a please, but remember, it's an order from your principal. Similarly, though it's the word, the word please makes them feel as if it's a request. So the tonality in which you use the word please also ensure that it makes them feel that it's subtly pulling them towards you. It goes very deep, though you might not feel it. Slowly you will understand that when you're, shall you please do it? Why don't you please do it? You are taking them into company. You are not asking them, do it. No, you say, please, let's do it. Take them into your company, thereby winning that confidence. So it is not like, that please again should come with us, again, repeatedly, the words and the tonality, as basically a teacher of English. So that matter, like, so, please, will you do this? That's so different. That please is out of frustration. Instead of that, if we can really work on that tonality. Or the next thing is, would you want me to help you in this? I don't mind doing a little of help here, so that you will understand what has to be done and you will be able to do better. Offer assistance, offer help in as much as possible. If you don't know something, tell them, like, hey, come on, you're learning something that I don't know. Let's learn together. Go sit with them. Offer assist. That's something they really enjoy. I remember the days when My daughter used to tell me, Amma, you don't know anything about computer. What are you asking me? So that later, now when I started asking for assistance, giving her assistance, it was different. So everything of assistance, like even if they're doing their work, even like as married people, husbands, wives, family also, if you can just get in and offer assistance, it goes differently. Similarly to your children, to make them get into your groove of expectations of behavior. We are not expecting anything. We are grooming their behavior to be better citizens, to be better people. So if you can make little of molding yourselves to be a better parent, so that your child becomes a better citizen or human being for that matter. So another play that you can do with them is ask them to do something, like act a drama out, create a scene. Okay, you want them to do a scene, like see for example, you want them to sit and study, and it's that they normally say no, 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 I'll watch TV and all. They're stubborn, and then you say like, please, will you please do it, and all. Then they get into you and then come into doing the thing. So you can just tell them like, let's have a drama of what happens at home. So first you tell them, okay, let's study. And they say, no, 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 no. I mean, you can tell them, you be arrogant, you be rough. So they say, no, 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 I don't want to do it. I'll just watch TV and all. So they say, please. You can say, please, shall we do it? And they can say, you can accept the pay. You say, like, okay, for you, because you're telling me so much, so let us do it. So create a kind of a playful challenge and slowly bring it to reality. Tell them, that drama finally you accept it, but in reality, I don't know. I don't. Will you be able to accept it? And you can pulling them with your language. I'm sure that I know I accept that it needs a lot of patience, but our children, our children, you will be proud when you see them having grown up, well groomed. For that, you need to spend a little time. Aren't we spending lot of time for so many other things? So here, we need to spend a little extra time. Now, they are used to something doing it, so you want them to spend more time on something, whereas they are spending a lot of time on something else. So you want them to bring them to a place where, like for example, you want them to study for 2 hours, they are watching TV for
ये
2 hours.
उल्टा
So now, if that is the case, so how do you move them from reducing the quantum of time that they are watching TV to bringing into your lessons? So what you can do is first start in small chunks. Just tell them that, like select one thing. For example, as I told you, the time. Select that. Now, come into a agreement with the child, telling that you will do this for 10-15 minutes, and then you will get back to your watching TV as such. So slowly, like when they do it, you appreciate them really well. They complete that 15 minutes, tell them like, wow, so beautiful, I know you could do it. Yes, uh, the speed, like the neatness, whatever, all that praise, and slowly increase the time. And here you increase the time and there reduce the time. So this happens actually. I'm just again talking out of experience from that of my child, grandchild at home. Like when it went to watching the TV, especially, and when I wanted him to read something else or listen to something else, this is what we did. Here we reduce the time and here we increase the time. Slowly it came up and this went down. And the beauty is the acceptance of the child. We think the child might not accept. We assume, but it is not the fact. Children have come into clarity. The firmness with you tell that, the assertiveness which you put it up with them, it is taking a little time. During the process, be assertive, be firm, and when you say a no, it's a no. That's it. And the child understands When we say the TV is only for 15 minutes, and how was it done? Now it is 7:20, like 7:35, 7:35, this TV goes off. The child comes in, sees the watch, it is 7:35, switches off the TV by himself. So, only thing is you need a little patience of creating this in the child and assertiveness. Be mindful that you don't become arrogant, that you don't become rude to the child. That will spoil the entire thing. Ensure that you are assertive, not arrogant. The child shouldn't feel that you're treating the child so, so arrogantly or so roughly or so rude that finally the child thinks that you don't love the child. So keep expressing your love, that unconditional love also. So this is another way of making the child doing it. And now with technology, we come into the simulation. So again, as I told you, this a dramatic experience, the drama that can happen around, the way you can take it up everywhere. How can you bring the child, create a simulated situation, a drama, like a preconceived, a pre-planned drama. This is going to be my role, and that is going to be your role. This is what is going to I'm going to speak, and that is what you're going to speak. It's a created situation, a simulated situation. So then slowly they move into a different level. When you talk about them being confident, so you feel that they're not very confident and you want them to become confident, create a situation. Just say that, okay, fine, tomorrow you have your presentation, here's your class, and you're going to do it. Let's see what is going to be a class. Just do it. Let me see how you're doing it. Let us have it. And okay, fine, you're doing what all you have learned, you're going to present, what is the question that is expected. Create a simulated experience and then quiet. And the final idea that I would like to tell you is modeling. How many of us are role models to our own children? How many of us, how many of our children call you as their role models, at least in one attribute, not just on the whole. Like, I'm not talking on that because they are seeing like quite a lot of multifaceted personalities. They'll have many dreams. They have that. Okay, I see. I really love to talk to children about their dreams and the way. So, have they picked up something from you? What are they modeling you? See, from like anything for that matter. Have they picked up your language, like the way you speak, the courtesy, the courteous language, or have they picked up your habits? Have they? What have they picked up your confidence? What are you modeling them for? That's very very important. I have heard from children like telling that, mom, I can understand. I have very bad models at home. Anyways, definitely I'm not going to be like them. But my dear parents, what happens is you all know as psychologists that the mind accepts positive instructions. And here what I don't want becomes I do want, and finally the children land up there most of the time. Unless the children are very strong because they have to cross their adolescence also. So what modeling are we giving is very, very important. How do you want? See, uh, morning I just heard an anecdote from when Rajagopalacharya was our Rajaji was there. Like there was some decision about, I think it's Rajaji. Okay, it was one CM of Tamil Nadu when he was talking about prohibition, bringing out prohibition in Tamil Nadu. When there was a hue and cry about bringing in prohibition, he started prohibiting all those toddy shops around the borders of Tamil Nadu, it seems. So when people asked him, why are you like, the hub is there in the center, in the city, the capital, and you're starting from the borders. So then he told, it seems, when you have something hot to drink, what do? You start sipping from the borders. And if you put your tongue directly in the center, you'll boil your tongue. So when you have to take a decision, you have to start from the borders. So when you have to mold your children also, you will start from the outer ring of it. Slowly you will go into the influencing the crux of their personality. It takes a little time. And with all good intentions, as parents, I'm sure that we will be able to be better parents in the days to come. Happy parenting. Thank you.
Very much, Pongal Punitha ma'am. I have not heard you many sessions, but a couple of sessions of yours was very wonderful, and today's was not less.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now it's time for discussion. So I encourage the participants to unmute your mics and discuss with the resource person, or you can put your questions in the chat box. We can take it forward. Thank you. Uh, Pongal ma'am, I have my
Yes, dear.
first question. Very
Yes, dear.
common question. I think most of
Yes,
us would have it.
yes, dear.
Ma'am, you are like a master of talking about parenting, and you have shared your own personal experience that is really inspiring to know. But my question is, you have heard most parents telling that my child is not listening to me very much, but he is listening to the other person from outside. What, in your experience, or what could be your insight, the reason for this, and how could we really take it as a parent?
See,
Thank you, ma'am.
most of the time, what happens is when we want our children to do it. See, I have had it many a time because my children are ready to my students. Whenever I say children, please take it as my my school students are ready to listen to me, but they're not ready to listen to their parents. What is the influence that I have made on them, which you have not been able to make? Is the question that I ask my parents. So probably they get something more from me which they expect from you. You have not given it to them, and I give it to them. Me. For example, I can share another experience here again. My grandson loves to go to my neighbor's house. And my daughter was becoming very, very irritated about it, telling that how was it that prefers to go there and he doesn't want to be with me? Why is he preferring, her to me as such? And finally, we really wanted to know because we are very clear. The beauty was he is never denied of anything in the neighborhood. So he wants to go there. So he listens to my neighbors better because whenever they give, he asks something to them, they never deny. So similarly, like somewhere something is happening which they are not receiving from our side. Most of the time I feel we become a little like in the name of assertiveness we become very strong in telling what is to be done. We just tell them. We don't even make them understand or realize. Even with children, grown up children, we just feel that as parents it is their duty to listen to their parent. Days are gone. Now you have to ensure that you explain it to children and you keep them informed of what is expected of them and what are they doing and what is the gap and why should the gap be filled. You have to take time to explain it, but we are not doing it. We just tell them don't do this, do this. So they don't know the consequences of what should not be done and the consequences of what should be done. So the result is not told at all. The end result is not explained to them. And again, a warning is that don't expect immediate results. When you tell them something, don't expect them to immediately accept what you're doing. It might take a little time. So give them that time, but be reinforcing whatever you want them to do. Be clear. Sit and talk to them first of all. Consider them as adults and talk to them. Even with kids, I would say, talk to them like as to this is what I would like you to do. I mean, what you're doing is not. I'm not able to accept it because of these reasons, and this is what you're doing, and which is not accepted because of all these reasons. I want you to do it for all these reasons. Sit and explain. I'm sure children understand. That is what I.
Ma'am, in connection to this question, thank you for your answer, ma'am, firstly. And I want to understand two nuances in this behavior, ma'am. First, is it okay for us to allow them to listen to someone if it is for a good reason? And two, is it okay to tell the child also to listen to others? I don't know, ma'am, how it works really.
No, actually, I wouldn't say it is when you have to first tell them what is expected. It is not always see you don't know like when you give them
நோட்ஸ் பண்ணவே முடியல
that's okay. When you allow them to listen to others, when you say that you can listen to someone, the next question, the next day will be, you gave me permission to listen to that uncle. Why shouldn't I now listen to this uncle? So I would suggest that when you can do that, please do not say that you can listen to that uncle also. No. But then as a suggestion, you can final thing is like you can tell them that let us hear it from everyone and the final decision will be taken here, not with someone else leaving the parent out. Okay, so it is our family, it is your my child, so let us come into agreement with each other instead of going in there and you listening to someone else. So I would not advise that you allow them. See, if it is a person like us now, they come to a school principal, you have a mentor, you talk to them, that's different. So they come to the school principal, they talk, that's different again. See, I wouldn't say that all of us are giving the right way, or I would not take that, but all of us are human beings. Because no one is more interested in your child than you. No one is more interested in my child than me. So that is what we have to keep informing the child, explaining to the child, and make the child realize that you are more important than anyone and you are more interested in them than anyone else.
Thank you, ma'am. I think this could be a wonderful answer to parents who have been encouraging their kids to listen, because I have seen people, he's not just listening to me. Why don't you talk to him? Okay, we feel really overwhelmed because we have impressed that kid. But in the long run, I don't think it is a good relationship between the own parents and also the kid. So I think this is one wise tip, ma'am. Thank you very much.
There's one
Ma'am, you've got
a question from
positive feedback.
there's a
Yeah?
question there's a question from Kavita in the chat.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Um,
She is.
bringing wonders in our kids, positive approaches. I believe that's the only sole method of parent which sustains a long time, but it's very difficult to follow this all the time. Kindly suggest a few ways to keep following this to most of the time. See, the only thing is we need to train ourselves into a little patience. That's very important. And reinforcing, reiterating what has been told is very important. Containing our anger is very important. Again, accepting however we are is all the more important. So, if ever you feel that you screamed at your child, you could have handled the child better, say sorry to the child. I think I handled you a little rudely. I'm sorry, dear. I didn't mean it. But as a normal human being, I also lost my temper. Accept that behavior of yours and say sorry. The child takes it as a model from you. Accepting a mistake, feeling sorry, and correcting themselves into better behavior. So, accept whenever you are unable to be positive, when you really get, so you can do that. So, I think I have answered your question. Somebody wants my contact details, Chandra.
Yes, ma'am. Usually, the participants do request the email address or phone number if you'd like. If you put in the chat box, ma'am. Maybe they
Okay.
wanted to talk something on this topic, or ma'am. At your ease, ma'am. Whatever you
Okay,
feel that.
I don't mind actually. I'm sharing my mail ID and my mobile number. And my mobile, the say things is you will not be able to call me. Please send me a message on WhatsApp, and then I will return. Just introduce yourself and send me a message on WhatsApp, and then I'm there available on Facebook. I have a page on Facebook as Pongal Punita. I'm there on LinkedIn, and my book is also there as Dive Deep Within. I have a page for my book also, so you can just go in and check.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Do we have any questions from the group or feedback or any reflection on this topic?
Yes, I do have a question for Pongal ma'am. Ma'am, Gonzalez here for you.
Hi, sir. Good
Uh,
evening.
Good evening to you. I'm sorry I've not put on my video because I'm not at my presentable best like I normally am. So
Okay.
you'll have to excuse me for not showing you my mug today.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I had a question for you related to this important subject of expectations.
Okay.
I'm in full agreement with you when you say that expectations for yourself as a parent, yes, that is, not something that we should normally have because that's being selfish. Okay. Whereas I do believe that the very act of upbringing, that itself is a series of expectations. So, therefore, I would like to probably draw a line between what you expect of your child in terms of the way the person should eventually turn out to be, because children were born and they were born without a user manual. All right.
Exactly.
And therefore, they have parents. So it is we parents who really have to give them the required guidance, because if we don't set them on a pre-decided path which we know to be good for them, then in that case, be sure that by the time they reach the age of reason, they're going to be listening to somebody else. And at
Exactly.
that stage, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to come back again and reinforce your position as a parent.
Very true. So I didn't have a question. You just added on to what I said. Thank you so much for that.
No, you're
That
most
was
welcome.
the guy user manual. Yes, we are right. No, we are the user manual of the children. So let's
Exactly
be
so.
that. That's a
Exactly so.
beautiful
Exactly.
word.
Yeah.
I learned it
Yeah.
from you today. Thank you.
No, you're most welcome. The other thing that I wanted to add on is uh, the role of parents in giving values to children.
Exactly.
I don't know then what exactly are your views. I do have my views, but then I'd like to hear from you.
Values. Oh my God. Yes, I mean, I'm sure that we are should definitely aligned with each other with telling that we become the best role models for values at home, because everything starts from home.
Okay.
When a leap like anything that, like, very simple thing, I always ask my parents, like, even from starting from like, you want them to go to the puja room before getting out home, you have want them to have a vibhuti. Are you doing it? So very
Yes.
simple thing, the basic thing, the modeling. So the modeling is what they do. So what are you doing? See, when I was a principal, like, when, like, children bring in leave letter, like in Tirunelveli, that's the main thing. I always remember when they have the Kutralam season, they used to go to Kutralam on a working day, because our weekends it will be very crowded. And the 10th and 12th, other children will not mind, but 10th and 12th children, when they come, and the child will come writing that, "Ma'am, I was suffering from fever." I look twice at them, they say, "Ma'am, we went to Kutralam. My dad only asked me to write like this." I'll make
Mm.
them write in the leave letter that we went to Kuttalam and my dad made me write like this, and call the parent. And I'll tell them that, like, no, the child is going to be with me only for 14 years, but the child is going to be with you for your life. So, what are you teaching the child? Train the child to speak the truth and face the consequences. So, the child learns to be what he is naturally, instead of hiding himself behind. So if we can really help them to become a good person by ourselves being a model, giving enough room for ourselves, enough room for them to get it from us, it will be a very great opportunity. That's the beautiful lesson, is what I feel, Gonzalo. So I think,
Uh, no, I think, ma'am, you've hit the nail on the head, completely and truly. I couldn't answer the question even better than that.
thank you
Definitely
so
not.
much.
Uh,
Thank you.
the other area which I thought might be in of interest is, I like that point you brought about of creating habits by chunking.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's very important, but the problem is that with most parents, the expectation is 100% on day one, and
Yes.
th- that's
Yes.
that's that's where then the child feels overburdened, and therefore, even if you start chunking later, it's not appreciated.
True,
Yeah,
true.
and one last point that I thought I'd like to add on. I loved your point that you made about being, lavish in your appreciation. I think it's wonderful, but I do feel that there must be room for reprimand. So I would probably maybe make a suggestion. If it's
Yes.
okay, maybe you can carry it forward. But otherwise, maybe you can tell me your point of view. Uh,
Definitely, please, like, because
yeah,
go ahead, sir, because
yeah.
reprimand is rarely wanted. We cannot always be praising them.
Yes, exactly. So personally, I mean, I'm of the belief that whilst you can be very lavish with your praise, at the time when something is wrong, I think you need to exercise the reprimand, but the reprimand should not last more than a minute. If you can't say what you want to say in a minute, then take a few minutes of time and then decide how you want to say it, but don't let it be more than a minute. Because more than a minute, then you start injuring the child's psyche. So say what you want in 59 seconds. If it crosses 59 seconds, then you're not done your reprimand correctly.
Thank you so much for adding on that, which I had missed. Thank you so much. It's a beautiful point that you brought in, sir. Thank you so much. And we are members of the Hypnotic Circle, and he's a very senior person. I think Chandra, we can invite him also for doing like one of the wonderful speakers also.
Thank you very much, Gonzalo sir. Please forgive me.
You're dragging me into trouble now. Okay, but not a problem. If you think that I can help out in any which way, please let me know. Only thing is just give me a little advance notice.
Now, this was given long back, sir. I was given notice before 3 weeks, so
Oh,
that's how
okay,
they do.
okay,
They have a lot of
okay,
planning, so you can
okay,
actually.
okay, okay. Then that's
Sharing.
fine. Then that's
Sharing is
fine.
caring, Gonzalo sir. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, and it is really valuable to us, and especially for me as a mother of two kids. Thank you so much.
You're more than most welcome.
Thank you, sir. So, Pongal ma'am, you might have seen the feedback that has been
Yeah,
flowing in the chat box, and it's
thank you,
really
sir.
overwhelming to know that you have been impressing people here. Thank you so
Thank
much. And
you.
without any further ado, it's time for giving our honors with a word of thanks. And it's me who is very much pleased and humbled to say nice words about your session today. So what I liked about your session today is like I've got 5 key messages in the art of parenting. Firstly, you have to praise your kids, and with 1 minute of what Gonzalo Sarah has added today, so that's fine. And about the tonality of the voice, and about 3 magical words: sorry, please, thank you, and about modeling. So we don't have to go to stages to model; we can be at our home to model, so that we can see nicer models in the future. So thank you for these nice messages, ma'am. It has been really wonderful to listen to your experiences as well. So along with the core team members of this webinar series and the organizers, also the co-partners of this series, I give my heartfelt thanks to you. And also, I especially thank the secretary, Dr. Dominic Christopher, the principal of the American College, who has been a man supporting this journey so long. So I thank all the participants who have been very patient and kind enough to support us in this journey and traveling this far in this nice initiative. And thank you one and all present here this evening and for your valuable questions and contributions today. So thanks for all of you, and see you all tomorrow in another session, another topic. So same time, same link. Until then, stay tuned. It's Chandra signing off, saying bye-bye and good night.
Thank you.
And it's good evening for me.
Yeah, good
Catch you all
evening.
tomorrow.
Thank you, Chandra.
Thank you,
Thank you
ma'am.
so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Bye bye. See you. Bye bye. Thank you, everyone, for the good words. Thank you.